Bonine 52, how are you, folks? Isn't it beautiful? I love riding out in the country. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I like about riding out in the country is not only is it beautiful, you're on the motorcycle, you're relaxing, and maybe you got to deal with some cow crap. But have you ever had a run of like 3 or 4 bad days? Maybe you couldn't get out riding. Maybe you were had a couple hard days at work. Something happened where you're like, man, it's been a crappy little run here. I need to get out and ride. And you're feeling kind of crappy. And then all of a sudden, you meet somebody that has a different attitude and how it changes you. Let me talk about the 90-year-old that I met in the post office the other day. So last weekend, it was a rain out in Michigan. First weekend in a while that the weather has been crappy other than extremely hot. America. So I couldn't get out over the weekend, and Friday was a tough day or a long day. Couldn't get out Monday. So now I'm like on 4 days not riding, and now I'm catching a little tood for sure, a little Bodine 52 attitude about not being able to be out riding. And Monday was a crazy day at work, and I'm like, all right. So I'm going 4 days. It's been raining. Haven't got on the bike. You know, people at work are acting like children. So I got to get out and ride. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to go out and ride, but let me stop by the post office. Now, post office is a couple miles from my house. I'm happy I'm out on the bike, but I'm still kind of in a crappy mood, right? So I go into the post office, and I have a P.O. box there, right? And people send me stickers or other stuff to that P.O. box, and I'm like, well, let me go check it. Now, meanwhile, I was supposed to get a package at my house. You know, they deliver it, and if you're not there to sign for it, they leave that little sticker, and if you sign it, they'll bring it back the next day. Well, I did that, and they didn't bring it back. And in a future video, I'll tell you what they were delivering, because I think you'll like it. But they didn't come get it. So I take that sticker, I go up to the post office, I check in with the post office lady, who's obviously having a rough day as well, and she says, I don't know what our letter carrier's doing. Sometimes she's not thinking right. I'm sorry. Here it is. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. No big deal, right? A lot of worse things going on in the world than me worrying about having to ride up to the post office on my motorcycle, right? So as I am going back out, I'm like, let me check my P.O. box. So I go in my P.O. box. I get 3 or 4 letters and stuff, and I get another sticker that says you have another package. I probably should have looked at that first, right? And while I am getting the stuff on my P.O. box, this guy walks in, an older guy. I would say he was in his late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, something like that. And he says to me, and I have the Road King, he says, hey, is that your bike? I mean, I had a jacket on, right? I did not have my helmet on, but you could tell I was riding the bike. I said, yes, sir, it is. And he goes, that's pretty nice. What year is that Road King? I said, it's a 2000. He goes, that's really nice, son. So, oh, thanks. Have a great day, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. So then I take the sticker back up that's in my P.O. box, and a different person comes out to help me. And she's like, you know, she just came back from vacation or something, because she's like all bubbly and happy. And so she's like, oh, yeah, sure, let me grab that for you. And I'm like, oh, cool. So she comes out with it, and I'm like, all right, that's great. So as I turn to my right, there's a guy walking in really, really slow. And he's, I think he said he was 91. And he says to me, hi, son, how's your day? I said, it's fantastic, sir. How is yours? He's like, I love it. I'm alive. I'm out. He goes, it's a little hot. I said, yeah, but it's Michigan weather. It'll be cool soon, right? It'll be freezing. He goes, I like it cold. I'm like, okay, that's great. And he says, hey, is that your motorcycle out there? I'm like, yes, sir, it is. He goes, I used to ride a motorcycle for like 60 years. I'm I'm like, oh, wow, that's great. And at this point, I'm a little small talk, but I'm not chatting the guy up, right? Because I'm leaving. So I go out, I get all the stuff in the bike, I turn on the bike, I'm sitting there putting my gloves on, and a guy walks out, and he's standing in front of the post office, kind of looking at the bike and looking at me. So I ride the bike over to him, and I turn the bike off, and I said, you said you rode for years. What did you ride? And I will tell you, for the next 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, we walked around my bike, my 2000 Road King. We talked about his marriage and his wife. We talked about all the motorcycles that he had rode, how much he missed it. And I'm telling you what, if he could have got his leg over my bike or I could have lifted him up, he'd have been on my Road King, I will tell you. The only two-up male rider that's going to be on my bike is that guy, because I would have taken him for a ride in a second. And, just a super good guy. Tells me how much he misses it, but hey, spending time with you going over this bike was really cool, thank you. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea, thank you, sir, right? So then I'm leaving, and I'm like, all right, so it rained a couple days. Bob, Bodine 52, which I refer to myself as Bodine 52, not Bob. And I'm like, it rained a couple days, so that's bad. Friday kind of stunk a little bit. Monday was crappy. Is it life-threatening? Are you 92 and can't ride a bike? And why is it this guy can barely walk, and he's in a great mood, and it's hot out? And it just kind of made me think about, one, I'm fortunate to ride. I got to ride as much as I can during the time that we all have on this earth. But it really made me think about, my crappy attitude is needs to change today. And I will tell you, I had one of the best rides that I had in a long time. Turned the GoPro off because I had turned it on the way to the post office because I was going to do a vlog. Made sure the shield was up. Turned on the radio, and I just rode. And it was one of the best rides. And it's just amazing how sometimes, even though motorcycling is what helps me and my relax, there's some days, even if you're having a tough day, that you're like, oh, the motorcycle will help, but you need to put yourself in the right mind frame. And I will tell you that this guy helped me get there, and it was a super cool thing. So probably not one of my normal vlogs, but I thought I would share a story about an old man at a post office that made an impression on me. So that is it for me, folks. Thanks for tuning in and listening to me babble. Be safe on and off the motorcycle, and hey, make sure that you say hi to that old man or old lady as you see them and help them out, because they're the ones that took care of our butts when it needed wiped when we were young. That is all. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye-bye.